Hello and welcome to my video presentation for preparing beginning band to play Childhood Hymn by David Holsinger. I've chosen that piece because it was the same piece that I did my assessment of it on in my last video. I have a lesson plan here that I'd like to go through with you. To start off with, our central focus is to prepare beginning band through rehearsal process to perform a childhood hymn. Our essential question is, what will beginning band need to learn through rehearsals to successfully perform childhood hymn? Let's see, as our standard address is MUPR 4.3.6a to perform a selected piece of music demonstrating how their interpretations of elements of the music and the expressive qualities convey content. Performers are going to make interpretive decisions based on their understanding of the context and expressive intent. Our learning objectives are mainly to correctly begin to master playing in the keys of B flat and E flat major. And also students will continue to correctly perform sustained playing, legato articulations, and maintaining a centered sound with good pitch at a variety of different dynamic levels. Let's see. Our academic language is students will be able to use and understand the key signature for B flat and E flat major, use the terms sustained playing, legato, eighth note triplet, and syncopation as it applies to our rehearsal and performance. The assessments are throughout the rehearsal. It's an informal, formative assessment. I'll be listening as students perform and play their parts and giving guidance as they need it. At the final assessment will be a formal, summative assessment, which will be our concert performance that will hopefully be recorded. Let's see. Our key vocabulary is key signature for B flat and E flat major, sustained playing, legato, eighth note triplet, and syncopation. Now here's where the actual lesson begins. As the students enter the rehearsal room, we're going to be picking up where we left off from our previous rehearsal. Remember, it's a beginning band rehearsal of this piece. We've been practicing it since January up until now, which is about midpoint in the semester, and we're preparing for a concert at the end of the semester. First thing I'll do is have my initiation. I'm going to make sure that all students are seated properly with their instruments assembled, if need be, in rest position. The students will take their instruments out, get into rest position, and I'll be checking to make sure that all that's going on. As soon as we're all in our seats with our instrument, we'll begin our tune-up, which is using our tuning note B flat. Students will all simultaneously play the tuning note B flat. If we're pretty close, we'll proceed from there. If not, I'll assess who needs to get a little bit closer to actually be on the correct pitch of B flat. Once we're tuned up, we have a little bit of an advantage with this piece as it gives us a warm-up built into it. They have the E flat and the B flat scale and arpeggio exercise on everyone's part, so we're just going to use that as our warm-up. The students will simultaneously play the scale and the arpeggio in the two keys while I listen and make sure that everyone's together rhythmically and in tempo, and everything is sounding a little bit better as we go along. Hopefully we will be warming up. As soon as we get through that, I'll give a brief lecture as to where we've gotten to up until now with our piece, where we have to go, and about how much time we have to get there. Students will listen. They'll be given a chance to ask any questions that they might have. I'll listen to their questions and answer any if needed. That should take about 10 minutes for my initiation. Then we begin our actual lesson development. The first thing I like to do, especially because we've been playing this piece for a little while, is have the band play through the entire piece from beginning to end, just to see how everything's going. Once the band does this, we'll try it a second time, but this time I'll stop anytime I hear a trouble spot, modeling how we should correct it and having the band go through that trouble spot together to hopefully fix it as a whole. If that doesn't work, I do a breakdown from there. I'll try to break the band into sections, concentrating on the sections that need the help the most, doing the same thing, having them go through the trouble spot. I'll listen, I'll assess, and I'll model how it should be corrected, and then have the section play it until the problem is resolved. Once we go through all that, if we have time, we can try section combinations of my choice and my choice of parts in the music. I'll stop the sections at any time that I hear something that's not right. I'll explain to them what we need to do to get it together. I'll model it for them. We'll try the section again, and then we proceed. Once we get through all those, and I'm satisfied that we've resolved as many problems as we can in this rehearsal, we'll try the entire piece beginning to end with everybody one more time. This time the band will play again to the best of their ability. I'll be listening not only to make note of what we've improved, but also what we still need to work on in our next rehearsal. That should bring us about to our closure. I'll leave the last 2 minutes of rehearsal time open to let students know that rehearsal is over, what you have to practice for the next rehearsal, when our next rehearsal is, how many rehearsals we have left before our concert, and I always like to at least let them know when our concert's tentative date is. Students will pack up their instruments. I'll check to make sure that students are packing up correctly, and then class dismissed. Thank you for listening to my video. I hope this helps.